Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take a few moments to go over a few things with you, as I know there's probably a lot of confusion regarding what's going on with Study 1 and Study 2 so far. So, I would like you to remember that Study 1, I want you to treat as sort of a practice run. We're learning this together, we're trying it together. So, treat Study 1 individual drafts as a space to try and to practice and to get messy, and remember that they will be graded based on effort, not based on content. So I won't be going through and using the rubric on your individual copies. I will be grading them based on whether you have all the information present and it looks like you tried, like you put in some effort to get it right. So those individual drafts are only graded on effort, not content. So I would say, again, Study 1 is really designed to get your hands dirty, to try some things out, and to get some practice with writing the different sections. Study 2 is really sort of your final project, right? So that's the big one that we're going to focus more on. So for Study 1, just to clarify, the experiment that I had everyone take part in class on the last day, that you were on the computer and you were responding to political related words and good and bad words. So that is actually Study 1. So that was the data collection portion of Study 1. Study 1 is extra weird for all of you because you weren't involved in the design process, only I was. So you're sort of trying to catch up, and I'm here to help you sort of coach through that, and then we're going to practice writing it all up together. So, Study 1, those articles that I assigned to the groups, I intend for you to use those in your introduction for Study 1. So I would say use those group articles that I assigned. You only need to use 4 peer-reviewed sources, so you don't have to include all of them. And I would say don't spend a whole lot of time looking for other sources for Study 1. Really, you can focus just on the articles that I've provided. I would rather that you spend that time focusing on finding articles for Study 2. So I'm sort of giving you, here's the articles for Study 1. Use these to practice writing up an introduction to justify the study. And then for Study 2, it's going to be up to you to find those research papers and read them and decide which ones are the ones that you want to use in your introduction. And you can do that as a group, as a team. And again, you need at least 4 peer-reviewed sources. So again, Study 1, a learning tool to really develop the skills and to practice. Study 2, you'll get to apply them for your own study. So your study does not need to be complicated. It can be very simple. The one that I designed is pretty complicated. It is pretty technical. It is a technically challenging study to write up. And the reason for that is I wanted to choose something that would be very technical that we could do sort of together to practice to learn some of that. But your Study 2, you can make as simple generally as you like. So it does not need to be complicated. It does not need to include an experiment. It can really just be collecting data from an online survey and then we analyze that data. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also, there are lots of resources available if you go into modules. Uh, I will come back to the course schedule. So there's the research study materials, the report, the guidelines and rubrics are up. There's also all these materials on practicing APA style, paraphrasing, building surveys in Google Forms, lots of statistics and APA results writing things, tips for going from reading an article to writing an introduction, the JASP handout. So all of that information is here for you to use as resources as well. The course schedule has been updated, so we are currently here in I think it's actually week 12, but um, we went back over the introduction, recap, and outline. I want you to be working on finding those articles related to your Study 2 topic and letting me know what they are. Um, study one, we're getting started on that method outline and we'll continue working on this. Keep in mind those study one drafts aren't due until basically the end of the month. So we'll have some time for you to work on developing those introductions and those method sections. It's not due right away. Then we'll take a break and we'll switch to talking more about survey methods. How do we find surveys? And then the next week and a half, 2 weeks, we're really going to work together to try to plan your study two. So once we've got this study one method figured out a little more, that will help you decide what to do for study two. And study two, you're actually doing it the right way around. You're planning the method before you collect the data versus in study one, I collected the data from you and then asked you to figure out the method. So it is challenging. I will give you more information and tell you more about, what is the research question and some more details on that method regarding study one. But I wanted to sort of see what you came up with first and what you sort of what connections you see coming together from the articles and what you think is going on. So we will, of course, talk more about that study one, but for now, I want you to be brainstorming that method, and then I will give feedback. After the next 2 weeks, we will spend planning your study two, and we'll go through submitting the IRB draft. Then, while we collect data for your study two, while I send out those links and we get some data to work with, we go back to study one. We work on the analysis and the results together. We work on outlining the discussion section. Then you get some time to work on your reports together as teams. So you'll submit your individual report. You'll have a chance to get peer feedback. I will grade them based on effort. And then you will work together in your teams to put together a team version that represents your best report for study one. And that's the one that will be graded for content, and the whole team will get that grade. Okay. Then we go back to study two and do basically the same thing for study two. And at the end, you present study two. So again, study one is this one that I'm having you think about right now with the article summaries and discussion and with the method outline. Keep in mind, I also posted a recording of the experiment so you can, well, let me double check that. Okay, it works in YouTube. So I also recorded myself taking the experiment, so you can always go back and look at it in real time to try to figure out how many trials there are, what's going on. What is also going to be helpful with figuring out that that method is the supplementary materials. So again, I will set that to open in a new page because that's not exactly working the way it's supposed to. So let me fix that. Glad I demonstrated so I could see that's not working. It should, let me quickly get to it. It should, spring 2020. What it should look like is you should have access to all of this information, the article, the instructions that I included, the survey syntax, the method instructions that were included, so you can actually see all of the materials that were used, the readings, both versions. There's one that started with Democrats, one that started with Republicans, and then a copy of that video of the study as well. And what may be helpful is looking at, so here's the survey syntax, so you can see the actual survey questions that were asked. And then the study experiment syntax is harder to digest, but this will show you what all the words were. Again, I think that's in some of the other materials as well, so you probably don't need to look in here. But it shows you these are all the words that were used. And then it gives towards the bottom is what's going to be helpful. The block order tells you, so there were two different orders. They were randomized, which one you got. So the instructions, then a practice with Democrat, Republican, then a practice with good, bad, then a practice with both of them combined, and then the test. Then we switch it, bad versus good, practice, and then test again. Same thing for the other one, but you can see they've been counterbalanced. So they start instead of good, bad, bad, good, and good, bad. Okay. If you look through here, you may be able to figure out or figure, see more of what's going on in terms of um, physically what was happening in the computer. But I am not a coder. If you are not a coder, this will probably look like a bunch of gobbledygook to you. So um, let me know. I will also post a link to, just realize this will be helpful, to SciToolkit, which is the website where I hosted our experiment. And you can always go into their library of experiments and you can find the original. This is what it was based on, implicit association task. So if you go to, again, this is scitoolkit.org, and you want to go into Library of Experiments and then find the implicit association task. And it will tell you about the implicit association task, how it works, a description. You can run a demo of the original version, not the version that I created, and it will give you additional reading that you can refer to. So this may be helpful for you as you figure out that method as well. I would recommend checking out this paper by Greenwald and colleagues that is linked, and I will see about putting up a copy of this as well. So, sorry this went on longer than I planned, but hopefully that clears up a lot of the questions that were going on, of where we are in terms of class, of what's study one, what's study two. What I'm looking for right now is for you to hopefully, as soon as possible, respond to those article summaries and discussions. Give me your rough topic. The study two topic I expect to be very fuzzy right now. It can be broad. The whole point of looking up the articles and starting to do the reading is to narrow down your topic. So if you just have a broad idea right now, but you're not exactly sure what your specific research question will be, or you're trying to jump ahead to, well, how would we measure this? Wait on that. Just start reading research related to your topic. That will help you identify the methods, and that will help you to narrow down your topic, because you'll always see what they recommend, what are the next steps as well. So if you have any questions, let me know. I am also about to post a video that shows how to book appointments with me or to chat with me via Pronto. So keep an eye out for that. And I'm looking forward to keeping working with you on all this and seeing what your interesting study two ideas are. So hope everybody's staying healthy and happy and sane. Let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns, and I'll talk to you soon.